right, let's give it a second, make sure everything is doing what it's supposed to do. Alrighty. I think we are good. All right, I think we're good. So give it a second, make sure it all is working. Hope everybody's doing well. If you can hear me, let me know. But I think we are good. So the testing continues. So we're streaming everywhere. So we are on TikTok, YouTube, Facebook group, Facebook page, Instagram, Twitter. Wow, say that 3 times real fast. So yeah, that's what we're doing. Popping in real quick before class tonight. So wanted to continue to test this stuff. I like going to different at different times too, just to kind of get back in the swing of things. So I think I have a good hack of how I want this to go. So I'll just talk a little bit about some of the things we got going on, but more importantly, want to just hang out for a little bit. So J Actual Bro, it's been a while, finally called. Yeah, for those listening, man, let me know what branch of service you were in, times that you served. As you see, I'm going landscape today, horizontal rather, vertical, Jesus Christ. Vertical rather, so it looks easier and better on mobile and whatnot. So it'll work better for Instagram and it'll work better across the board. So that's the focus. But tonight, as you see above, that's the conversation that we're having, acing your CMP. So answer some questions, hang out for a little bit. Feel free to share the live with folks. And I hang out here for maybe, a little bit, 30 minutes or so. Tonight, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard. This is the class. I'll talk a little bit about what I'm covering tonight. But I like to go live at different times. So sometimes I go live at night. Sometimes I'll go live in the morning. So I'm just testing different time frames just to see, because, it kind of is what it is. But yeah, let me know wherever you're tuning from, the branch of service you were in, and times you served. If you were... if you're rated, let me know. The biggest thing that I want to cover is a little bit of the proposed changes. I think that's a good topic that I've been hitting on quite a bit. So I know everybody's kind of up in arms about the proposed changes for both sleep apnea. For Sonia, how are you, my sister? I love your page, man. I'll be cracking up. We're talking a little bit about the proposed changes for sleep apnea, for mental health, and tinnitus. So I'm going to show that very quickly. I'll talk about tonight's class, and for our active duty people, leave people who are med boarding, I'm going to share a little bit about our BDD course as well. So kind of hit on those 3 things pretty much and try to address some questions. But I finally kind of have it figured out. So it's a whole process to try to get these things going. They've changed rules around, so I think this should be good. And by default of people answering les questions, it means that obviously you can hear me. So that's a good thing. Let's see, we got Sonia in the building. Shout out to you. San Antonio's in the building. I'm actually going back to San Antonio soon. I just had a call with some folks out there. I'm gonna jack this up, but Brexer County, I know the X is silent, so I'm gonna jack that up. But we were down there not too long ago. We did a workshop at the Alamo BFW, American Legion, sorry, and got to go back there eventually. But one of the things we did in San Antonio was that, and then we went down to Berhar, I can't pronounce it right, but the county Veterans Felony Treatment Program. So we spoke there last year, or early this year actually. So I got to go back. We did a workshop with them, so we went into the Veterans Felony Treatment Program. I couldn't make it for the Veterans Misdemeanor Program that they have there at the county, but I'm looking forward to going back there, putting on a class, having a conversation about benefits and things like that. So that was a good experience. So that's something I have on the back burner of things to do, but that is the focus for that. So I wanted to at least kind of put that out there as far as some things we have going on. So I think we might do our meetup for my team in January. San Antonio looks like it might be a thing, or Austin. So be in the Texas area here in short order form. But that is on the agenda. Let's see. So shout out to you, Antonio. What's going on, my brother? Army's in the building, 09 to 2016. I appreciate you. Hope you're doing well, my brother. Let's see. Other folks across the board, let me know what you got going on. My YouTubers, let me know where you're tuning in from and how you're holding up. So, yeah. But a lot of cool things going on for sure. I'm excited for class tonight, so I'll kind of hit on that real quickly. This is the agenda this evening. I'm touching on basically kind of a little welcome piece. The whole way of how I do these classes is pretty simple. Kevin, it's pretty simple. I like to talk about acing your CMP, specifically tackling it from the perspective of how to better present yourself. So just so you kind of make it make sense, it's a quick welcome, kind of who we are, what we do type of thing. And then from there, what is a CMP exam? Again, you'd be surprised. I'm saying CMP, but it's a VA claim exam for your claims. You file the claim to the VA, you say you have a disability, they're going to examine you. Regardless of what somebody may have set out online or talking heads, go to your CMP. That's one of the biggest things I would advise you. I know people like to do things along the lines of, oh, don't go, get this, get that, send this. Would you file a workman's comp claim for an injury and then not comply and show up? Again, you want compensation. You want to have this that will help you do things in life, right? Whether it be healthcare or this, other, the third. Those are huge things. 3 quick points I want to hit on that. But, what is a CMP? Things to expect, things not to expect. Once we have identified that, what constitutes a bad CMP? What to do if you have a bad CMP? And then also talking about some tips for preparation. Understand the key word here, preparation tips, right? How to get ready for this. I don't do the keyword gets you a thing. I don't believe in that. I believe a veteran's truth is enough. I don't give you keywords, and I'll explain that with the proposed changes for mental health. The way I teach mental health means that these proposed changes, should they come to pass, we don't know when. It doesn't matter when it happens, because ultimately a veteran understands how to speak to their truth. So for me, it's about empowering someone to learn how to fish. If you learn how to fish, you survive. If someone gives you a fish, you're dependent on me. I don't want that. So that's one of the biggest things there that I would highlight. And then we're going to have a Q&A. So the class itself will be about a good 45 to 55 minutes. My team will be there too, answering questions. And then I'll do a Q&A, after that. So basically Q&A for an hour, or as long as, you guys have questions. And the biggest thing I always like to hit on when it comes to these classes that I do, these live sessions, it's my team is there too, right? And I know you don't see a lot of them behind the scenes, but I have no ego. And what I mean by that is that I'll teach a class and I'll have my team, in the Q&A jump in and kind of, give perspective on something or share things behind the scenes that are going on that may be applicable to questions and things that are going on. And maybe someone on my crew says something that clicks for you. I'm okay with that. You know what I mean? Like, I don't get it twisted just because you see my face plastered all over the place, popping up and doing these things. I didn't choose this. You know what I mean? This was a series of events that led me to this life. But I do understand that there are people that I have aligned myself with who are much more insightful in so many areas. I have 2 ex-VSOs now. I just brought another person on. two ex-VSOs who bring that wealth of knowledge, who worked in different capacities of that world. I have someone on my team who literally has spent some time in the system. I have people on my team who were pre-law, you know, and all that kind of stuff. So a wide variety, you know, from business, regular world. I have a chaplain on my crew. So I share that because I think it's one of the things that really gives context to, again, maybe someone says a certain way and that clicks for you. I'm all about you getting it. But I would encourage you to come to our sessions because it's not only, hey, come to this session because I think it's a good session, but rather we're going to start a material from start to finish. We're going to get through the material together. And then you're also going to get perspective that someone may ask something that you didn't even think to ask, right? We have veterans who come down. I got people on my team who are rated for MST themselves. So having that perspective of someone asking something, saying something, it's sparking an idea, I think is powerful. So I really like that. And that's why I've taught this class literally for the past 5 years now. You know, every Wednesday night I teach a class. I teach ACE or CMP this Wednesday. Next week I'm doing navigating VA claims. And that's kind of my battle rhythm. So it's 1 week one week the other. And I just keep doing that. And I've been doing that for all these years. And I thoroughly enjoy doing that. I believe it matters. And I think options are good. So for someone, maybe the video, maybe this live answers your question. Good. Maybe the class is something you need a little more of. Great. Some people have asked for one-on-one calls. We have that. The link in my bio has all these things of how to get to these things. So I just wanted to put that out there for perspective. But I'm DP, founder of Veterans Network Champions Club. And I am a disabled Army combat veteran. First responder for September 11th. So I was there 30 minutes after the towers fell, and then Iraq and all the things that came with that. Then I went into law enforcement, and I actually am a medically retired federal law enforcement officer. So I was an air marshal for a good period of time. And after being that, I went to headquarters and then I ran programs, and I ran government programs, our communications program, and was very integral in a lot of things government. Went to the Command and Staff College, War College, few master's degrees, and then I taught at university as an adjunct professor. Why am I saying these things? Because I always mention these things because for me, education is huge, right? I understand government processes and I talk about these things differently than others because of my background, because of what I've done. So I'm saying that because when we're getting to a place of how to understand and have this conversation with the VA, it's a government process. And I think that if we're better equipped to make these arguments and understand that, that's huge. I talk about VA claims from a very unique place because I was in counterterrorism. Psychology is a big part of my background. So I understand people in a very different level. So when I talk about claims, if you notice, you'll see people comment all the time, like a one-on-one call with me or a class was really powerful for them because I'm kind of like I would always explain, I'll explain it this way. You know, when we're doing a claim, it's like selling a house. Sometimes people get caught up in the paintings and this and that and all those pretty things to stage the house, and that's fine. But when I look at claims, I look at claims from the perspective of an appraiser, right? Like that person that comes to see what the value of the house is. They don't care about the door color, all the nice things. They're looking at the integrity of the house, the foundation, the roof, termites, right? Do we have a structural strong argument, right? If that doesn't pass that, the bank ain't gonna cut the check. You know what I'm saying? So I don't care how cute it looks. The foundation is faulty. You're not gonna sell the house. And sadly, many veterans get caught up in all of the noise that's online, but no one's answering a question or really looking at the integrity of your argument, how to solidify it. So it's not a key word to do a thing, but to make a sound argument that means you're making your personal best argument, period. That to me is powerful. That to me is kind of what I do. I appraise the argument, right? I look at the structural integrity of what we're arguing, why we're arguing it, and then helping you understand what really is the argument. Which takes me to a few points here that I really want to share very quickly as we proceed. Shout out to Ranger Dan in the building, 87 to 94, 80%. My brother, how are you? I hope you are well. Lamont in the building, Army 87 from New Jersey. Where has the time gone? Wasn't it just 87 yesterday? Chopper is in the building. Got my first CMP exam for dental today. Kind of nervous. And I saw you, I think you were on yesterday. The biggest thing I would say to you, my brother, again, it's pretty straightforward when it comes to that. So, you know, just speaking to your truth, right? It's not anything, it's pretty subjective, right? You have what you have, you know what you have. So let me know how that goes. We kind of discussed on some things. I understand the nervousness, but as long as you're able to be heard, you're not rushed, the little key flags that we always kind of hit on, those are big things, but I definitely want to know how that, goes for you, for sure. Dayton's in the building. I have a TBI migraine CMP exam tomorrow. Any info to share? Honestly, the best info is come to class tonight. I'm literally going to cover this. And please understand, there are things that I can't talk about here specifically when it comes to at least some of the real hard, heavy things because, community guidelines, right? We're talking disabilities, and I cannot say things that infer, a medical condition on someone or talk about somebody's financial status. Like, it's a whole thing of community guidelines. It gets real weird. At least the way I explain things, right? So I would definitely encourage, the class if you can make it down. But I will tell you that if you're filing a claim, the biggest things that I would share with you or anybody filing a claim, it's what I call the DP 90-10 rule. And what I mean by that is that a VA claim, a disability, it's a medical condition that has become disabling. That's the biggest piece. With that being said and done, now we consider that it is a present tense conversation. It's not a conversation of the past. I understand the pain a veteran has when they feel like I've been filing these things and the system just does not get it. I get that. However, the system is not going to compensate you for what you did in service. I'll say it again. The VA is not compensating you for what you did in the military. You have a DD-214 that says you were paid for what you did in the military. The compensation is coming by way of the things that you endured or injuries or events, etc., that now have lingering results afterward. That seems so trivial and basic, but that's the fundamental flaw with many veterans who complain that they should rate you because you were airborne. Incorrect. They should rate you because you were infantry. Incorrect. How could they rate this cook and not me? Incorrect. I deployed, he didn't. Well, how did they get rated, not me? Incorrect. Your argument is flawed. If you do not understand how to make these arguments, you're not going to get anywhere. So it's a conversation of present tense issues, right? 10% is what happened. 90% is what's happening, especially with our very traumatic event veterans, whether it be personal assault or combat or non-combat related situations, or whether it be military assault, right? Sierra X-ray, Echo X-ray, because again, words on social media. But, it's a very sensitive topic and many veterans don't want to unpack that. And we're not asking you to do that. We have to identify something happened, yes. But 90% of the conversation is about what's happening. So I would offer to anyone filing a claim that a VA claim is about what's happening, not so much what happened. 10% of the conversation is what happened, yes. But 90% of the conversation is what's happening today. If we can't get there, that's a problem because we just sometimes get stuck on that part there in the past. So just to put some context. A few things that I would definitely want to hit on. There are some proposed changes, which kind of, goes into some of the things I want to at least hit on. So let me switch over to that. One of the first things I want to share is that there are changes that are being proposed. Yes, this is true. However, I think that we are also being misled to believe things that are not exactly what they're supposed to be. And I'll explain. So there's been some proposed changes and I'm going to share that specifically. Let me switch that over so you see it. So again, I'm not just telling you, hey, changes are coming. When's it going to happen? I'm going to show it to you. Let us go over here. So this is regulations.gov. I see questions. I'm going to answer them here in a second. But when we're talking about these proposed changes specifically, this is what it means, right? There are proposed changes, and this is the same for respiratory, which covers, and auditory, it covers the respiratory side of the house for sleep apnea, things like that, and tinnitus, and then mental health, right? So we'll use this one just to kind of focus in on that. I'm going to zoom in just so you kind of see it. So first of all, we don't have final action yet. The very first time this was proposed, these proposed changes, was February of 2022. You go back further enough, you'll see me talking about this. I talked about it as soon as it came out. And then there was a period for commentary to go back, which was April of 2022. The suspense date went to 23, that passed. Suspense date went to June 2024, that passed. Our new suspense date is April 2025. So when someone's out there telling you, sleep apnea is going away, mental health is going away, tinnitus is going away, it's not. It's not. They're fear mongering. They're trying to clickbait you, right? They're not showing you the facts. And that's why, to me, this matters, right? Again, if you want keywords, go have at that. But this is the reality. Proposed changes means it's not finalized yet. That's the first part. Now, here are some of the proposed changes, specifically looking at hearing loss. Tinnitus is a big one. People are talking about, oh, tinnitus is going away. It isn't. That's the first part. It isn't. Tinnitus they have proposals for changes, but it's more so how tinnitus itself is actually looked at. So what you see here is that although the VA, which is highlighted, has will not alter the definition of hearing loss for compensation purpose, it proposes several updates to current terminology. Things change. The VA proposed a note for 4.85, adding 10% evaluation for non-compensable hearing loss with tinnitus present, when tinnitus is related to diagnosed hearing loss. That's the fundamental change. It's not, I just filed tinnitus, but I'm going to have to file for hearing loss. I am not having hearing loss, but I do have tinnitus. Way back when, this is how it was. So now you have to file for hearing loss. Correction. The proposed change will make it to where this is the pathway. So it's still going to be 10%. It's just more now where it falls under hearing loss, because hearing loss, tinnitus in and of itself is a form of hearing loss. That's it. So the whole fear like it's going away, I just showed it to you. It's not going anywhere. It's still there. So, call the presses, turn off call off the National Guard. It's not going away as far as that's concerned. Shout out to you, Johnny, Army 2000, 2004 on Instagram. So that's the first one there I want to hit on. I want to also then touch on one of the bigger ones there, specifically, let's see, let me go over here and we're going to look at sleep apnea specifically. So a few things, because again, people are, a little bit on the, oh my goodness, what is going to happen side of the house. I'm going to bring up first the current rating criteria for sleep apnea, and then I'll break down the changes that are coming. So here is the current rating criteria for sleep apnea. Sleep apnea currently rates at 50% if you require the use of a continuous airway pressure machine, CPAP, right? If you have a CPAP, required medically for use, and you're able to make the argument for VA claim purposes, that rates at a 50. If you have daytime hypersomnolence with no CPAP, that's 30%. People forget about the 30%. So it's not just CPAP or go home. That's the current rating criteria. Let's look at the proposed changes, because again, people are saying sleep apnea is going away. Incorrect, it's not going away. So I'm just going to scroll down to the new breakdown criteria there. So let me go backwards just to pull that up that way so it'll be easier. Okay, so when we're looking at that, where are we? Right here. So sleep apnea, I'm going to highlight it so it's easier for you to see. You may have to maybe zoom in a little bit. But sleep apnea, here are the changes that are being proposed. Keyword on 50. First of all, look at that. 0, 10, 50, 100. 0, 10, 0, 30, 50, 100. So that changes. So the one change being that the 30 goes away for hypersomnolence. So that's one change. So if we have incomplete relief with treatment, that's 10%. So one minor change there. But at the CPAP level, for the 50%, if the treatment, right, the sleep apnea that you have, that you're given a CPAP for, APAP, BPAP, whatever the case may be, it's ineffective, or you're unable, keyword, you are unable to use it for comorbid conditions, right, without end organ failure. That's 50%. So what that means basically in English is you have a CPAP issued, but it's ineffective in treating your sleep apnea, or you are unable to adhere to your sleep apnea, right? So that's one of the biggest things that I would highlight here. Qualifying comorbidities are conditions, right, that qualify, an opinion of a qualified medical provider is saying you cannot, this is literally regulations.gov. I'm literally reading you the regulations. So that's not a document. It's literally the regs. If you have, for example, instances where you can't do this, what are examples of why you could not use a CPAP? Some veterans have contact dermatitis where the mask interferes with the face, etc. Some have Parkinson's, some have missing limbs, some have facial disfigurement, some have scroll fractures. So you have a condition where you are unable to adhere to this thing. I mentioned I had a pec tear and I was in a sling for a bit. I'm just out the sling. Towards the end of my period, I kept coming out the sling in my sleep, right? Because I just can't be confined. So it's one of those things. If I cannot use a sleep apnea machine, a CPAP, for whatever reason it may be, is there a medical reason why I cannot use that, right? There's many reasons why. And many veterans, arguably, that I work with, I talk to all the time, will always say things like, I'm scared that they're going to take my rating away because I can't use my CPAP for X amount of reasons. Well, that sounds like a reason that might qualify for that. So I'm saying this because sleep apnea is not going away. I just showed you. Not only did I show you what the proposed changes are, I'm showing you how we would argue it should the changes come. So tinnitus going away, debunked. Sleep apnea going away, debunked. Last but not least, let's go over to the big one, which is specifically the mental health side of the house, right? So for mental health, we understand the rating criteria 0, 10, 30, 50, 100, 70, 100, right? We understand these keyword things. I don't like keywords. Tonight I'm teaching HRCMP class and I'm talking about specifically key symptoms and how to speak to these things, not keywords, because the problem is people think you have to go into a mental health exam and say these things. And that's not what this is saying. This says due to symptoms such as like this, symptoms that are at this level range. Do you understand how to speak to that level? So the proposed changes for mental health specifically are looking at a few things. If we're looking at mental health, what the proposed changes look at is we're going away from keywords. So here it is, 10, 30, 50, 70, 100. So first off, right there, mental health did not go away. What went away is keywords. But DP, what does this mean? Great question. We're going from a place of someone trying to go in there and talk about, I have neglect of personal hygiene because someone said go in there, look at a hot mess. Those tactics are not going to work going forward. I teach mental health based off the changes that are proposed. I always have. So the biggest changes that are happening, for context, is it's going from the DSM-5 argument to a WHO 2.0. What does that mean? It's the World Health Organization 2.0 perspective. That's how it's approaching this argument of your impairment level. So it's going to look at 5 different areas of your life, right? 5 domains. And I'm going to zoom in here. 1, cognition, understanding, communicating. 2, interpersonal interactions and relationships, how you interact with people and participate in society. 3, task completion and life activities. 4, navigating environments, getting around. And 5, self-care, right? So that's the 5 areas, 5 domains of your life that you're going to have to be able to speak to. Then it's going to be rated based off of a severity level. And that means that, do you have this right here? Do you have none? Do you have mild? Do you have moderate or severe or total impairment in those areas? So the level of intensity in each domain will either be none, as you see it here, mild, moderate, severe, or total. So now that we know what that is, what do those numbers equate to? Here's the numerical breakdown. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. 4, total impairment. 0, none. 1, mild. 2, moderate. 3, severe. So now that we understand that they're going to look at this 5 domains based off this severity level, this is how now this works. So at the 50 range, you have a score of 2, which we identify to be a moderate impairment level in one domain or in 2 or more domains, rate 50. At the 70, you have, for example, in the 70 range, either you have a level 2 impairment level, which we have identified as being moderate, in 2 or more domains, whether it be interpersonal task completion, or you have a 3 in one domain, right? You have severe impairment, number 3, in cognition, interpersonal task completion, right? Or for the 100, you have a 3, which is severe, in 2 areas, or you have total impairment, 4, in 1 area. That's it. And I know that might mean like, what does that mean in English? Welcome to education. If we understand how to speak to our symptoms and we understand that, hey, I in my life can speak to, again, going back to the domains, areas of my life that I am dealing with, that I have issues, whether it be cognition, interpersonal, or what have you, right? So interpersonal would assess the veteran's ability to effectively interact with others, both in social and occupational settings. The domain includes both informal and formal, aka life and work. You've been divorced 3 or 4 times. You've been fired 5 times this year alone. We have some issues, arguably. Now you're speaking to what is the level of that impairment that you have, right? Is it mild? I'd argue 3 divorces, 5 firings, and failed business endeavors, etc., would be a little more than mild, right? So now it's on the veteran to speak to the level of their impairment, not to sit here spewing some key words and a secret insight. I'm sorry. There are no fucking secrets. It's understanding how to speak to your truth. What can I say? What are my tips? What are you dealing with? What are your problems? We have to look at this holistically. So I'm mentioning this because this is what the change is. Again, they're proposed. It's not finalized. It hasn't been passed. But it doesn't matter because I just literally told you, where it comes down to, check, these changes are more compatible with earning impairment. 100%, 100%. Shout out to Sonia. The changes are more compatible with earning impairment. 100%. Because a disability is an impairment level. Operative word there is impairing you of potentially doing certain things. You're unable to earn the income that you cap. And veterans don't understand, just because you have a job, that doesn't mean your income potential is not impacted, because some of you have sheltered work environments. The fact that I am a veteran who is disabled and I have other veterans with me, I am more than understanding when my crew has certain conditions or have certain requirements. I don't discriminate against my crew because we're all disabled. That's a very sheltered environment. Whereas most other places, I don't give 2 shits about your VA appointment or the fact you have a migraine. 2 tears in a fucking bucket. Next. You know what I'm saying? So I'm saying this because when you have talking heads giving you fear mongering of a change coming, I am literally at regulations.gov. So when someone asks the question of where is this coming from, it's coming from right here. The proposed rule change for rating disabilities of mental health disorders. And the previous one I showed you comes from the other one, which again, it's a lot of different things in there. So I'm just kind of, going here very quickly. Proposed rule change for rating disabilities. Do a Google search, regulations.gov. That's literally it right there. So if someone's going to say, hey, this is coming, you better be able to back it up and tell me what it is. Because when a veteran tells me, well, I heard some, who told you that? Who told you that? Let's get down to the nitty gritty. Because if they can't, I just debunked 3 things. Tonight is going away. Bullshit. Just showed it to you. Sleep apnea is going away. Bullshit. Just showed it to you. Mental health is going away. Bullshit. Just showed it to you. If you have, and again, I don't care how you get help. That's why we do things different here. But my thing is, if someone's helping you, they should be able to help to educate you. So when I say, hey, you should probably come to, our live sessions that I'm teaching, this is what I'm talking about. Because I'm specifically talking about we ace our CMP not by going into a fear-mongering thing, but by you being prepared. You learn how to use a rifle because boot camp trained you. I'm now helping you to argue the things you are dealing with because it's impairing to you. You're lying to yourself. You're lying to everybody around you. You're not lying to me. I watch people. I was in counterterrorism. Psychology is a big part of what I came from. So for me, again, when I say I appraise things, look what I'm doing. I'm not sitting here talking about pretty fancy words, go show up looking disheveled. I look at claims very strategically in a way that has to make sense. Just Cruise, 100%. Many people on YouTube are trying to scare interviews, 100%. I'm literally right now live everywhere. I'm on TikTok right now. I am on YouTube. I am on Facebook, my personal Facebook, my public Facebook, my group Facebook, and my Instagram, my personal Instagram, and on Twitter. And why am I doing that? I'm doing that because guess what? Who else is going to sit there and actually do this? I'm answering your questions, but I'm educating you, but I'm not just sitting here saying link in bio, buy my product. Do what you want, but make informed decisions. I believe there's a room and space for many people as far as help. But like if someone says to me, hey, I'm getting help from someone. And if you tell me that you got more interaction and more education on this right now, then whoever's helping you, reassess your help. Demand better, demand more. You served honorably and have a right to file a claim. You have the right to make an argument to the VA. as such, make the right argument. That's really what my argument is all about. I'm all about making informed decisions. You know, I'm going to highlight this here because I think it matters. When we're talking about claims, and this is, you know, the About Us section when I talk about this stuff, come class-wise, this is my crew, part of my crew. I just onboarded somebody else that came on board, but I'm telling you right now, Chris, my brother, man, I'm gonna get to you in a second, man. Just give me 2 seconds, man, because I got something to tell you, man. But this is my crew, and I say this in my classes when I teach them live, but when you look at this right here, I want you to just notice one key thing. And one of the main things here is the following. One, you know, this was our get together a few ways back. Everybody in this picture is disabled. Everybody there, except my service dog, and apparently he might need a ring himself. But what you see here, as you'll hear me say in class tonight, is my crew comes from all walks of life. Every color, every hue, every background. You have here literally ex-VSOs, you have pre-law folks, you have people who did insurance claims agents life for a while. To the far right, Vernon, our crew chaplain, because someone's got to pray to keep this together. To the right next to me, the older gentleman, Dennis, it took him 50 years to file a claim. He went and filed his first claim right before his 80th birthday. And after his 80th birthday, he was able to win his claim. Why am I saying this? Because the fact is that what he had to do, being 50 years removed from service, is not going to work when someone says keywords. His argument is very different than somebody else's argument. Every age, every demographic, every color is represented here. Why? Because this is who we are. So when I look at putting people around myself, I look at, do I have people who can speak to that? I got veterans in here who are victims of military sexual trauma and in turn have been able to get rated for that and can speak to these things. So, you know, obviously I call ourselves the Avengers of all things VA claims because we do things different, but it's not sensational because no one wants to be educated. People want to solve a problem. That's why 6-minute abs works, right? No, it doesn't. You have to do diet and do other things. Hell, shit, I've lost damn near 60 pounds. And guess what? Every time you see me live, I'm fucking on treadmill doing some shit, right? I'm working out. So the point is, I want to empower our people to understand how to make good arguments. And again, if you have a VSO and they're good, hold on to them. You got good support, hold on to them. Whatever it is, get the right support. I like options, figure out what works for you. But that to me is a big one that I just really can't stress enough when we're talking about these things, right? Get the right help 100%. I want to get some questions as well, but I wanted to definitely talk about tonight's class. Again, for those popping in, let me know the branch of service you were in when you served. Tonight, we're talking HUCMP. If you think this is good, I'm way better live. I can't say a lot of shit I want to say because community guidelines. But apparently, you can thirst trap. So, you know, maybe I'll do some squats with a phone under my fucking cock or some shit. Oh, Jesus Christ. You see what I'm saying? Look, there's certain things we can't do here. But we keep it real. You know what I mean? Like, look, it baffles me to your point. Like someone said, right? They're just clickbaiting you for views, trying to fearmonger you into shit. Look, I don't come with that. I'm all about let's make the solid argument. But we're gonna talk about who we are, which I've talked a little bit. What are CMPs? What to expect? What not to expect? Bad CMP tips. CMP tips, bad exams, how to fight it back, and then a Q&A. And I'll be answering your questions as long as you have, because it's in Zoom. I can say whatever I want, and trust me, you might get triggered. Because guess what? If you do not understand where you have to go, again. My brother Chris, who shout out to you, my brother, man. By the way, he has a great martial arts studio in Brooklyn, I believe it is, in New York. I believe it's in Brooklyn. He could correct me if I'm wrong, but we served together way back when. It's crazy all the folks that I've interacted with over the years that I know that now have kind of come back around, and you see them in the different areas of life. But he's a lifelong martial artist doing some amazing things. So at some point when I get back to New York, I try to link up with him as well. But shout out to Chris. He has Power Martial Arts in New York, so look him up. Great veteran as well, and very knowledgeable. He does a lot of good stuff in the community, and has a lot of content he puts out for the youth as well. So check him out there. I know he's on Facebook as well, and probably other social medias. But you know, he will appreciate this, right? It's like anything else. When it comes to this concept of claims, you can watch kung fu movies all day. If you're not in a dojo, you're gonna get your ass handed out to you. You could watch adult films. You never got down? Stop it. You could watch me work out all day. If you ain't working out. So I understand we think we're going to do something, But sadly, if it's not working and what you've done has not yielded results, it's time for something different. It's time for something new. So I'm big on, doing the work, and that's not easy. But this, I will offer to you this. I shared Vernon's picture, right? Vernon, who is our chaplain to the far right. Vernon is a double organ transplant recipient, our chaplain. He's a walking miracle. Believe what you want to believe. 2 organs that he had to get, transplanted. The VA covered that. The bill on that would have been over $2 million. That's one. You don't plan for organ failure. Benefits in place, he's good to go. One of my other advisors I brought on board, he was a VSO. His son is autistic and needs a feeding tube. Why do I say this? You don't plan for things like that. You don't plan for autism. You don't plan for your child needing something. Monthly, he told me the food alone for the feeding tube that he, to feed his child, because he's not, he won't eat, it's over $5,000 a month. The VA pays for that because he's rated. I just put a video up not so long ago of me visiting Jerry, one of our Vietnam veterans, and he is in a living facility for memory because he has early onset dementia. And the monthly rent there is about 18 grand for where he's at monthly, this living facility. And the VA pays for that. You don't plan for dementia. You don't plan for your child being autistic and needing a feeding tube. You don't plan for your liver and your kidney giving out and you needing a new one. Again, it's more than just a monthly thing. I understand that. Hell, you got to keep the lights on. I understand you have to potentially take care of certain things. But the benefits that you have earned, because again, your ability to earn income or whatever case may be, your life gives out, body gives out, all the things, it goes a long way. So I share those 3 points because I think it matters for veterans to know what is available. So today you'll thank yourself, whether it's school benefits for your kids, whatever the case may be. Let's see, I'm on step 5, waiting for the rating. How long should I expect to wait to be seen? It's been like a month. Yeah, step 5. Yeah, it'll take a while. There's a backlog, Chris. Which again is a very good question because a lot of people ask about that specifically. So yeah, waiting for a while. A month is not that long. Sadly, there's many variables, so it depends what did you file, how many things did you file, are all the exams done. Things that can happen is you can have potentially a rating awarded for, let's say you file 5 things, 3 things get awarded, 2 things get deferred. That just means they're putting it off and going to rate that later. So 3 awarded, 2 deferred. That's kind of what that means. So I mentioned that because obviously, that's kind of how that works sometimes. So a month isn't that long. It's just really a lot of variables. We can file the same exact thing, where you fall in the queue, location, availability, and, all these things. So it's really hard to gauge, but a month, it really isn't that long. But it can happen very quickly, or it could also drag out for a few more months, just to kind of put it in perspective. So just, a little bit of a heads up there, but not too bad. One thing I'd encourage you all to go check out, again, specifically, is the things that we have going on. We are doing our classes, but check out our website. And one of the things you'll see on my website at veteransnetwork.club, one word, is click on the About Us. And one thing you'll see here that's a little bit different is we actually show our faces and our names. And you get a bio for the crew we have behind the scenes. So I'm big on, hey, figure out what works for you, take it out. But for my active duty folks, which I did want to say this, is I have a BDD program that I put together for those leaving. For those that don't know what that means, BDD is benefit delivery on discharge. So those leaving active duty, it's a self-paced program that we put together with a lot of good stuff. I'm going to show you behind the scenes what it looks like. So if you are leaving active duty, might get med boarded, you're planning forward, get this. It really helps. And I think it's the cat's pajamas. This is what it looks like behind the scenes to give you an idea of kind of what to expect, but it breaks down videos, all these different things. So welcome to BDD claims, gathering evidence, selecting conditions to file, secondaries, aggravated conditions, presumptive conditions, sleep test study, self-health assessment, separation health assessment rather, regulations and closeout, links, buddy statements, samples, templates, and things like that. So you have the ability to go through all this, and these are all, and they all have a video too. So you literally, have me, actually talking through these things as you're kind of going through it. So it's self-paced, and there's obviously the ability to comment, send messages, all these different things. But this is available to you. It's like $6-7. So if that's something that you are interested in, definitely check that out, because again, I just think it gives you time to start working on this stuff. So I can't really recommend this enough. honestly. So that's one thing I wanted to at least highlight there for folks to make sure you see that. And then I want to also showcase my link in bio, because again, you'll be able to find out all this stuff on the link in bio, so you know kind of how to get there. Click my link in bio. It'll take you to this thing here. And the biggest thing is, again, get our free BDD checklist. Again, a checklist of what to do as you're leaving service. That's one. If you have the ability, check out our mental health secondaries, right? So that's a nice little book that has all these cool little things. Go get that. That's there. We have a newsletter that goes out every 2 weeks. We talked about Duty and Nexus letter. That was the email that went out this week. Navigating VA claims is next week. That's a free class. Tonight, it's Acing Your CMP. That's 47. Check it out. So all links are there, right? And if you want to have a one-on-one call with me, that's there also. You don't need that. Talk to my advisors. That's a free call. I'm more like deep fact diving. Somebody can't make it to class. They have a unique situation. That's there. But check out the link in my bio. It has all those cool things there. Again, just so we have awareness of what's going on, right? So, but my big thing is always, hey, regardless of what it is you want to do, make informed decisions, right? Get the right support. Make it make sense. I'm not big on the pushing what I do. I know what I do is the cat's pajamas because we do it how we do it. But if you have good support and this gives you context, then great. But I like options. I like our veterans at least knowing what's out there. So I tackle things a little bit differently. But tonight specifically, we're acing our CMP at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard. You have to sign up for that. That's one of the biggest things that I would highlight there. I want to get to some questions and then we'll start shutting it down, because Wednesdays is my reset day as I get ready to teach my class, because there's a lot of things going on. So, but let's see, somebody asked about political things. I have no opinions when it comes to that. My brother, life is short term. Every soul, worship none, come through. Okay, someone wants me to come to Islam, so salam alaikum to you then. U.S. Coast Guard, 10%, waiting to hear on other claims and getting seen by the VA for some other conditions. Bruno, check. Okay, awesome. What's the 10% for? Hey, Eric, how are you? Yesterday, when you had a tantrum, why did you bite your... that wasn't me. I don't know what that is. This is interesting. I can't tell what's what, but apparently someone had a tantrum. Why did you bite your wrist until it was bloody? My wrists are not bloody, so I don't know what that is about, but that's interesting. Yeah, I love social media. Okay, let's see. We got that. And let me see on TikTok. Let's see. Shout out to Air Force 89 to 97 in the building. Army 04 to 06 and 09 to 12. Shout out to you. Just went for hearing loss CMP exam. Tomorrow I have 6 more with a nurse practitioner. Blue collar. Okay, what are they for? What renders someone incompetent? If you can't manage your finances and they find that you have the inability because of your mental health conditions or whatever other things to meet your requirements, then incompetency may be a problem, because we're not going to compensate you for something and then you can't pay your bills and survive, right? Like if you're a drug addict, etc. So incompetency really kind of deals with your inability to do certain things. Okay, let's see. Migraines, VA first claim, got 50% max because I had to lay down for migraines. And it's more than that, so it's also intensity and frequency and income impact there, but check, Tony. I served from 19 to 2022. I have yet to receive a rating to file for something, Joey. Where are you in the process? Look up migraines, DBQ, search for 50. Let's see. Because the question came up. Let's go there. Let's pull up migraines. Okay, so because somebody asked the question, let us go there. All right, so for migraines specifically, you can look up the DBQ, but here it is pretty simple. When we're talking migraines, it'll rate at either, and I'm, excuse me, looking at this highlighted area here, so let me put that in frame. 0, 10, 30, 50. So when we're looking at 50, We're having frequent, completely prostrating, laying down, shut it down, can't continue, have to stop what you're doing. Prolonged attacks, right? That they're happening so frequent that they're actually causing severe economic inadaptability. You're burning through your leave, work problems, freelancer problems, not able to secure jobs, whatever the case may be. Like that's the max, right? 50%. At the 30 range, characteristics, migraines with characteristics of prostrating attacks, again, having to lay down, shut it down, etc. Occurring on average once a month over the last several months, right? So intensity, frequency, two key things. And then at the 10 range, we're having characteristics of prostrating attacks, shut it down, lay down, turn it off, averaging about 1 and 2 months over the last several months, and then less than that at a 0. So why do I say that? Because when we're talking migraines, we have to understand that migraine specifically is looking at the intensity and the frequency. If you look at this right here, notice that nowhere does it talk about medication. And I'll zoom in for you. Again, welcome to some CMP conversation. You see here, it says nothing about medication. But yet you want to go to the CMP and you talk about the fact that you're on Botox and on this med and on that med and you're under care of 5 neurologists. You're talking about healthcare. If healthcare worked, we wouldn't be here having a disability conversation. So why are you talking about that? Talk about the symptoms regardless of the healthcare, right? Understand what I'm trying to get you to see here. That what we're talking is the impairment level, and the impairment level is this. If you start talking medication, that's taken away from the argument. Intensity, frequency. That's the two things we have to talk about for migraines. All the other stuff is consequential. Just how it rates. But a veteran goes in there, spends a whole hour talking about the fact that they're on 20 different medications. All you talk about was medication, not frequency or intensity. All right? It matters. Okay. What do you think is the likelihood that this all sticks? They just changed the GI stuff. So honestly, changes, are something that is going to happen. So even if it does, I just explained to you, like I have no worries at all. Again, shout out to Chris. I'm a gunslinger, right? I was an air marshal. We're pretty good at using guns. We understand combatives. I'm not Billy Badass, but I'm making a statement for the perspective. I would argue my brother, right, Chris Powell, I'll use him as an example much better because, we got some real heavy hitters in the building. He gonna whoop your ass on the floor. He can whoop your ass fist to fist on a standing game. He'll whoop your ass from freaking 50 meters out with freaking, a weapon system. You give him any kind of weapon, he's gonna use it. Why? Because he's a martial artist and he's done this for a long time and he's advanced in his degrees and he has a school and he teaches others. Not saying Billy Badass thing, but rather he doesn't rely on just the fact that he has a mean left hook. No. To get to that level of proficiency, you have got to master all the areas of the thing, right? Like you lack black belt being, right, the beginning of the true learning of a thing. And he's surpassed that. So I'm saying that because it's a conversation about understanding, the entirety of the argument, not just some keyword thing. You could get lucky. Oh, my friend, he did this. That's a sucker punch. You don't know how to fight. He got lucky, got raided, and told you to do something, you got denied. Make it make sense, right? So when we come at this, we have to understand how to make these arguments. Like I'll just pull the regulation for you because I could do this all day, right? Because for me, like in my world, like you can't fuck with me on this stuff. I could explain this stuff all kinds of ways. So when you start looking at my brother Manny, it's a reunion, man. I'm telling you, we're gonna link up. I was literally driving through Fall Searches today. I had to go do something, but I'll hit you up. We're gonna coordinate. But shout out to my first commander way back in the day, Mr. Rodriguez, man. Back way back in the days. But I mention this because again, if you know something, you should know more than a trick thing or keyword, right? Like I'm amazing at what I do because I do this. You know what I'm saying? So I make the example of anything else, right? Chris is a skilled martial artist. Trust me, you don't want that heat with him. And he's the most peaceful guy you ever meet. Why? Because he knows. Like you know what I mean? So when it comes to VA claims and this kind of stuff, if a veteran understands how to make an argument, they're effective. So I want to empower people. I want to teach people. I want to help people. I'm actually going to go to this December. I have to go to DC, November. Rolling Thunder, the motorcycle club. They're having us come down to speak about claims. So I'm going to be down there talking to their leadership. They want to explore other options because sadly, what they've been getting hasn't helped. So we're elevating the conversation beyond just talking to veterans, but even organizations and stuff. Why? Because we need more than fear mongering. But I use the martial art example to say that when we're talking about how to be effective in this conversation, it's a conversation of knowing how to make arguments, how to get our people somewhere. So it's not about what I did. It doesn't matter. But I can teach you how to do what you need to do. That's how we get effective in this stuff. So, the changes that are coming as far as, because the question was, do you think it's likely the proposed changes will help, which I was explaining, are going to happen. So for those that missed it, go back, you'll see it. But I explained the proposed changes for mental health, sleep apnea, and tinnitus. They're not going away. They're just changing some little things here and there. It doesn't matter. If the rules of the fight change a little bit, if you fundamentally know how to fight, you're still going to beat them up. Oh, Mike Tyson, you can't do this, you can't do that, you got to use this kind of gloves. He's still going to take you out, right? So it doesn't matter what the changes are. We're going to whoop that VA claims ass every day of the week. You know what I'm saying? Oh, they denied you? I love denials. Why? Because it gives me the ability to think through a problem and find a way to whoop their ass. My ground game is impeccable. You know what I'm saying? My freaking standing game is ferocious, and all the other things that Mike Tyson said, right? But I use these analogies just to make it make sense, right? We shouldn't fear of the unknown is because we don't know, right? But yeah, shout out to my old crew, man, from way back in the day, my first unit in the military, before we went on to do great and amazing things. But yeah, if the changes come, we're ready. I just explained to you. So if I can explain to you in like 2 seconds what it is, again, very quickly, mental health is going away from keywords to domains and impairment level. So you have to speak to your truth. Sleep apnea goes from CPAP required to CPAP don't work. That's it. And tinnitus goes under hearing loss. So you have to file for hearing loss and you don't have it, but you have tinnitus. 3 things debunked right there. Many people on YouTube are trying to scare interviews. Of course, because that's the narrative. You know what I mean? I try. I'm trying with YouTube. I'm trying to get out there. Same username, Veteran DP. But I just can't do thumbnails, man. I can't play that game of the sensationalism. Like, I can't only make but so many titles because I really want to make a title, on some of these videos and be like, unfuck your claim with DP. That's the title. That won't do too well. Let's see. I do the same. I don't have your following, but it's fact-based, not trying to scare nobody. Oh, 100%, man. And even then, like I brought somebody on who had his own organization, so I absorbed him, and I'm going to collaborate with other providers. So let's coordinate, man. Let's get together. Like, trust me. Look, if I spit it this way and Just Cruise spits it another way, I'm all for that. I believe that there are more veterans that need help than the amount of help that's out there. So, if people are in this vibe and this is how you spit your game, look, forget the following. I just been doing this shit consistently for a long time and I ain't going nowhere. So I'm all about collaborating. I'm all about bringing more people into the conversation, whether it's my organization or somebody else's organization. The end goal here is the veteran. So if I believe that, that means it's not about me. I believe it's about the veteran. So whether you patronize me or not, that's fine. I'm okay with that. No ego here. Let's see. Hello from Gulfport, Mississippi. I am a veteran. Shout out to you. You do it the right way. Well, look, we're trying to find a way, so I appreciate your support. Beatings in the building. Army 2000, 2006, 90%. Iraq, Afghanistan, 100% PNT. BR. Shout out to you. Let's see. Army 91 Whiskey's in the building. Got out 2003, 100% PNT. Check. Get your DBQ medical options at your regional office. About a month later, exams for free. Yep. In-person VA regional office. Yep. You go to the regional office and get that. You need a one-on-one. Link in my bio for sure. VA denied my increase for PTSD. What did you argue? Where are you at for the PTSD now? Right. When we're talking about the mental health side of the house, one of the things I would argue is it's a conversation. Again, we're talking increase. So one of the, I have obviously a lot of things out there, but TikTok is where a lot of my videos are at because it just seems to work. But for example, you're 50%. 50%, I'll use as an example. I have a difficulty doing something. At the 70 range, I have the inability to do something, right? Difficult establishing relationships. 70% inability to establish and maintain effective relationships. Is it difficult or do I have the inability? How do you explain that? Because a veteran will say, hey, things are hard. No, open up Pandora's box. The fact is you try to off yourself this weekend. The fact is you're about to get divorced yet again. The fact is you can't run a business, let alone work for somebody. We have issues beyond difficulty. It's not hard for you to do certain things. You have the inability to socialize with people for a variety of reasons. And this is not flattering stuff, but this is the truth, right? Our daily, statistics of folks checking out is what it is for a reason. People have problems, but we just mask it away. We don't talk about it. So, and then sometimes the VA gets it wrong. So I'm not saying you got it wrong, but how are we arguing the difference between one to the other, especially when we talk about increases, makes a difference. Let's see, need a one-on-one, link in my bio. Let's see, medically retired inspector, not sure what an HLR is. HLR is a higher level review. And a higher level review just means that you filed a claim, they denied it, so you want a second pair of eyes, but you cannot add new evidence. So if you were missing something fundamental to your argument, diagnosis, event in service, nexus, connecting those things, then you have to do a supplemental claim to add much more for that. It adds a few $100 for the dependent stipend once you're over 30%. What to do with the VA doctor doesn't add notes for headaches or any notes, period. Send them a secure message and basically start the conversation about, what you're having. It creates a thread. Can you go over sleep apnea changes? I literally just went over it, but I'll go over it again for you. Don't worry. Can you please save this video? Go to YouTube. This video is being recorded on live, so if you go to YouTube, actually that's the thing. Go to YouTube. On YouTube, it literally on the live tab has a replay of this. That's how I'm gonna get you over there. Ha ha! Not gonna go back. I'm still gonna answer it though. Let's see. All right, we got that. Don't downplay what's going on with you. 100%. Resilient Rooster, man. Shout out to you, my brother. I appreciate you, what you do, man, out there. I love your content. File for pes planus, plantar fasciitis, both bilateral. Will I get rated for bilateral? So both of them, if you file for them both. 0781, they sent us PTSD form. I guess they need more evidence on what we uploaded. Yeah, so if you didn't do a 781 form, a VA form, 210781 is for PTSD. It specifically asks about events of the stressful environment the traumatic event was. So you have to furnish that information for them to do their part. Okay, so let's see. That's the mental health side of the house. Let me see, I just had this here, so let us go, because I said I wanted to show it to you. So for the question, for the sleep apnea, this is what that is. So sleep apnea currently, here's the big rub, and I won't rant off. Currently, it requires you to have a CPAP medically required. That's 50%. The proposed rating changes are looking at the following. Let me go back to that section for the rating criteria. And it goes basically at the 50 range from required CPAP to the CPAP is ineffective. So you still have the same rating. It just changes 30 for hypersomnolence, a 10 that the CPAP, is not a complete relief of your sleep apnea. But at the 50 range, if the treatment is ineffective, right, as deemed by a sleep study, or you're unable to use the CPAP or whatever you're issued due to comorbid conditions, then that rate's 50. So required use of CPAP is current versus the CPAP is not effective or you can't use it. And reasons why you cannot use it are even down here. For some veterans, it may be contact dermatitis where the mask interferes with your face, Parkinson's disease, missing limbs, facial disfigurements, skull fractures. So what's the reason why you cannot keep a CPAP on or adhere to the medication? Many veterans I talk to are terrified because they cannot use the CPAP for a variety of reasons. It sounds to me, highlighted means something. This is the part where old Army, I'd be stomping on the floor to get your attention. Where in the opinion of a qualified medical provider, the medication, the CPAP, BPAP, APAP, whatever it may be, impedes or prevents the habitual use of the treatment shown by a sleep study to be effective in the veteran's case. So why can't you use the CPAP? There's a rub. Not going away. But again, that's my whole thing. Like, if I understand how to fight, okay, you're good at this, I'm gonna come at you this way. Military-wise, I can't go at this way, I'm gonna come at it this way. Change? Okay, fine. Now we're gonna argue this, because arguably, that's always been your issue. That's a change. That's a change. But if you go back on the replay of the live, you'll see kind of where I went through some of that detail there. So that's one of the biggest things for that one. My migraine claim was denied because the VA never did a CMP. I submitted a supplemental with all my evidence. Is this the best way to go about it? Yes. You could have gone higher level review if they didn't call for a CMP, but maybe you didn't have a diagnosis. I don't know. But either one would work. So that's fine, Bruno. That's fine. Can you all go over back pain a little bit? I'm actually gonna jump off here in a little bit. Actually, I'm teaching class tonight. So again, fun fact tonight. It is ACER CMP. That's the class that I'm teaching tonight. So if you have a CMP coming up, it's literally going to be a class where I'm covering what is a CMP, I'm going over what to expect to the CMP, what not to expect, bad CMPs, preparation tips, and a Q&A for an hour. So you have my undivided attention with my team going over that for quite a period of time. So I wanted to at least go live and just at least talk about this because, again, you know, it is what it is. There are many things I can't talk about, or mental health especially. But for your question specifically, registration is not closed. It closes right before 8 p.m. Eastern Standard. So if you go to the link in my bio, you'll see these different things. Go down to Ace Your CMP, and that'll be available to you. If that's something that you feel that will be helpful to you, I think it'll definitely be helpful. But I look forward to seeing you. Next Wednesday, we are doing Navigating VA Claims, but today it's Ace Your CMP. So my link in bio has all the information. Jump on the newsletter if you haven't jumped on that. It comes out every 2 weeks. The last thing that we talked about was Nexus letter. You need one. But go to our website, about us. So again, if you go to my link in bio, click that little linky thing in there, and it'll take you to our website, kind of see who we're all about. Hit the about us. You see my team, what we're all about. You want to have a conversation with my crew about your condition. Click on that. You want to see who we have. Again, read the bio, and if you want to go ahead and have the conversation, then reach out and book a call. You know, it's a good assessment. So there's that. Let's see. So 5 minutes, I'm gonna shut it down. Gotta go feed my dog, get some chow, and then reset for tonight. Because after class, then I have my team, and then we do our hot wash AR. So it's always a long night. Retention is not closed. I put in a claim. It's step 4. Why no CMP? It's just a waiting game that can move back and forth. So I wouldn't lose sleep on that. For back pain, basically, again, what are we dealing with specifically? Well, what's the back pain? Is it a disc situation, compacted disc? How do we injure it? Are you rated? Range of motion, is that impacted? If it's just pain alone, that rate's lower. So a few ways to look at that. Is it official that tinnitus is longer a primary claim? Tinnitus is going to go, no, it's still the same. No changes on tinnitus. The tinnitus is just proposed to go under hearing loss. You'd have to file for hearing loss, basically have no hearing loss, but you would have tinnitus, and that's how you file it. But that change is not official. Go into your YouTube channel. Thanks for helping. You're very welcome. Thanks for the follow on YouTube as well. Okay, put in a claim. I got that one. Retrace not closed. They might have enough evidence to make a decision without it. Sometimes that's true. It's an outdoors point. Will sworn statements and doctors know about PTSD count as event evidence? Yeah, it's adding context for sure. So yeah, that does help because it's a sworn statement. Dale. I don't think Dale's my kid, but unless my kids change their username. What's up, Dale? Let's see. Someone said hello, Dad. So that's kind of funny. So tonight's not going away. Sworn statement. Got that. Hello, Dad. Hello, Dale. Thanks for answering. You're very welcome. We just don't know what they want. Check. Yeah. So I'd say fill out the form, and just give them as much information as you can on the 781. Because again, it's really just arguing like details, location, if anything to happen, etc. So sometimes it's a little bit of a paper shuffle or even a statement to the fact of, hey, here's all I have again, just in case. Appease them. Sometimes they just jack things up. But yeah, that's the plan of action for this evening. Let's see, Gabe, listen to this, man. I aced my last CMP exam and got rated for everything, filed for, and some. Look, that's what I'm talking about. Shout out to you, my brother. That's what it's all about. Matter of fact, we're going to go ahead and highlight that too, because people need to see some of the chat, because we get dynamic on this thing. You know what I mean? Let's see. What do I want to bring up? There you go. So even the TikTok folks, there's a way around this. So shout out to you all there on TikTok land. But yeah, listen to this, man. I aced my last CMP and got rated for everything I filed for, and even higher. There it is. You know what I mean? You can't really be full of shit and show up on a live like this and not get ready to be dismantled if you're completely full of crap. So shout out to you, Gabe. Arguing details, locations are check. Yep, 100%. Yeah, that's what it is. So just appease them with that. It'll ask for information, you know, regarding that. Let me see. I'll quickly pull that up as I get ready to wrap here. Where is it? Okay, let you. Give me one second. So again, I'm not gonna go too much into details about this right here, but here's the form, specifically the 781. So again, as much information as you can put in there, for sure. Obviously, your information. Again, if it's brief description of the traumatic event, give them the information as they're asking about it. And then from there, obviously location details. So example on this one, mugged, back alley, big town, USA, when it happened more or less. Or if it's MST, or if it's in Fallujah and a thing happened, Vietnam, blah, 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 station in Da Nang. From there, additional information as related. So if there are other things in place, right, go ahead and check off as appropriate, give those information. So they've updated the form, so it also could be that. This form is now combined. It used to be a 781 and a 781 alpha. Now it's one form for everything. I'm gonna make a video going over this because now it is a new form. And behavioral changes, experience of following events, increased visits to healthcare, requests for change of occupation, blah, blah, blah. Again, just give as much as you can. Go all the way down as needed. Any additional changes following in-service, events that happen. Note those things. Was the official report ever filed? Yes or no? Possible sources of evidence that you have in some shape, fashion, or form. Faculty members to your sworn statements. Anything you have to corroborate and help. Make sure you do that thing there. Treatment information if you have it. If you don't, no problem. Where you've been seen, if you have it. If you don't, no problem. Again, as much as you can. Any remarks, again, anything you want to add that wasn't covered into that, check, consent, name, done. That's it. Yeah, so that's that. This TikTok, I'll show. Yeah, so this is on YouTube. So same username, you go to YouTube. You'll see the replay of all this stuff there. Sadly, on this platform, it doesn't do that. And when I go out live on my desktop like this, it suppresses my views. So when I go on the phone, it's no problem. But on YouTube, yep, same username, Veteran DP, and links in my bio, so it'll take you there too. Yeah, you go there and then you'll see it on there. So it'll be in the live tab. Let me actually show you what it looks like so you know what it is, just because we are showing. Yeah, so do a search, Veteran DP, you'll see my mug. Hit on that there, go to the live tab, and then you'll see like the live ones, things and all that jazz there. And I'm doing more stuff, so like I'm adding more shorts and videos. I just can't get over these goddamn freaking thumbnails. Like, it's just a thing where like I despise it, but that's a whole nother conversation. But yeah, so that is where you'll find that on the live tab as far as the live replays and things like that. So that is available there. But let's see. I also want to give you a shout out to you guys. I won. Chris, shout out to you. I have to really know. You have to really know what you're talking about. Yeah, 100%. Wrong one. Let's go for this one. Boop. Yes. 100%, Gabe. You just have to really know what you're talking about, your truth. They will know if you're lying. Don't try to fabricate a thing. Yes, on YouTube. Also was to give a shout out to you guys. I won my 9-year battle with back pain benefits. Chris, shout out to you, man. That's what it's all about. So, yep. That's what it is. So tonight, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard, we're talking ACE, your CMP. I'd love to see you there in a live session. Hope we got to everybody who asked some questions and all of that good stuff there. So I think we were able to get a majority of all of that done. Replay available on YouTube, so you can definitely go back and watch that all there. Let's see. And I think for the most part, that should be it. What? Yeah, I'm just finishing a live. As I get chewed out for not getting off earlier. Let's see. Have any PTSD, CMP tips? I'm literally teaching a class tonight, so I literally got to jump off because I just got chewed out again for not taking this dog out. So, It's in 10 minutes. Oh, sweet baby Jesus. What is your rating for PTSD? Are you rated? Is it your first time? The biggest thing I would argue when it comes to this, well, real quickly, let me know. What are you rated for PTSD or not? We got about 5 minutes to get you in before you roll up in there. But I would offer to you, it's a present tense conversation. So if it's a present tense conversation, we're talking specifically about what's happening now, not what happened in the past. That's one of the biggest things I would offer to you. When we're talking about, let me pull this up here, the mental health criteria side of the house. Let's see. Again, not knowing where you're at. Sorry, just so your live went. Yeah, I understand, Manuel. Don't worry about it. If you're going for the increase, then you're arguing to the next level up. Again, I don't know what you got. So again, we're flying blind now. And that's why context matters for these things. But if you're at the 50, the argument then has to be at the 70 range. Again, at 50, we're talking difficulty, at the 70, inability, at 100 total, right? So if it's an increased conversation, the argument is specifically about the increase and about the next criteria up. When we're talking about the instances of PTSD, if it's your first time, 10% of the conversation is what happened, 90% of the conversation is what's happening. So it's a present tense conversation. It's not a conversation about what happened. You're not getting paid or compensated because you did a thing. Rather, you are going through the past. To the present, rather. So something happened that caused PTSD. My argument now is how these issues affect me. So we have to walk into the mentality of how today am I impaired? How today does this affect me? How today is this something that is making, these symptoms alive in my life in some shape, fashion, or form? So that's the biggest thing I would offer to you. It's present tense, not past tense. Present tense, not past tense. Symptoms, not keywords, symptoms. Give me examples of what that is, your issues in some shape, fashion, or form. Again, at the 50, do I have the difficulty establishing relationships, or at the 70, do I have the inability to establish relationships? And examples of that, speaking to those things, not just keywords, right? But really speaking to your truth and how that affects you. So it's a conversation about today and the mental health side. So that's the biggest thing I can tell you. It's a present tense conversation, not a past tense conversation. 10% past, 90% present. Speak to what you're dealing with. If it's an increase, speak to the more how it got worse from your last rating. And if it's your first go at PTSD, then that's how you have to hit that, right? That's literally the best thing I can tell you right now. Present tense, not past tense. If you got out your CMP, if you have any more exams, come into class tonight anyway, because I'm gonna cover this shit. And if it didn't go well, guess what I'm gonna cover too tonight? I'm gonna cover how to push back if you have a bad CMP. So if things don't go according to plan, I'm also gonna cover bad CMP exams and how to push back. So that's really what I could tell you in a quick few minutes. Let me know how it goes. Good luck. Yeah, shoot me a message. Let me know how it goes. I'm always curious to know these things. How these affect impairment today, work relationship, yep, social impairment, work impairment, all the things. So appreciate you guys. Make sure you go to YouTube for the rewind of all these things. Same username, so check it out. Veteran DP, that's the push. Tell them about YouTube. Follow me on all the things. TikTok, I appreciate you. Twitter, X, I appreciate you. Facebook group, Facebook page, personal, Instagram page, and a TikTok. We are all over the place. So if whoever you're with ain't putting it down the way that we put it down, fire them and get with us. I'm just joking. All right, y'all. Appreciate y'all.